guys, this is Camryn Conner with Tiger Rag Audibles podcast. Welcome to episode 25. I hope you guys enjoyed watching the game against Army. I thought LSU did great, and I was happy to see their offense and defense working together and flowing nicely. For this episode, I'll be walking y'all through LSU's game last weekend against Army, what a win this big means for LSU and their players. We're coming into bye week this week, so this is a huge opportunity for LSU to really buckle down and get prepared to play against Alabama on November 4th. I'll also be going over what potentially could happen during the Alabama-LSU game and what the outcome could be for LSU moving into the rest of the season. But first, I just want to thank our sponsor, Pawpaw's Campers and Cars. That's pawpawsrvs.com, 1-800-728-CAMP, 1-800-728-2267. We'll be back after this commercial.
Hey neighbors, we're not that far from where you are. Make that short drive to Pawpaw's Campers in Picayune and see our Wildwood, Catalina, Sportsman, and Zinger trailer lines and our Rockwood and Heritage Glen fifth wheel lines. From Houma to Hammond, Biloxi to Jackson, and Mobile and Pensacola, we're not that far from where you are. Come and see us.
You're gonna love the way we deal. Pawpaw's Campers City and Picayune. You're gonna love the way we deal.
This is Camryn back with Tiger Rag Audibles podcast. Today I have a very special surprise guest. I have editor of Tiger Rag, Todd Horne, with me today. Todd, how are you doing today?
I'm good. What do you mean surprised? You didn't expect to see me or what?
I didn't expect to see you. I know you went to the game. I wasn't expecting to see you, at least until maybe the hangover wore off.
I'm not. I didn't. I worked. I did not party. No tailgating for Todd. So, yeah, but I'm here, and I'm glad to talk about the game and other stuff with you. So what's up?
How was that game? How was it watching the 62-0 blowout?
It was kind of boring from a strict, pure football sense. I mean, LSU basically dominated and did every single thing that they wanted to do with ease on offense, except for that second possession where Daniel struggled a little bit, which was odd to see, but he quickly recovered. And man, I got to tell you that second touchdown, that play where he avoided the sack, and then on the full run into his right, threw that pass to Brian Thomas down the sideline, dropped it in like a dime, and it was an 86-yard touchdown. That was awesome to watch. But overall, to answer your question, LSU, dominated offensively, were able to do whatever they wanted, and they continue to do that against everybody. It seems like they can pretty much score at will when they want to, how they want to, and that's going to be interesting to see if that continues, especially against Alabama and Tuscaloosa in a couple of weeks.
That's what I was just about to say. I mean, coming in, we have a bye week this week, and then we have Alabama on November 4th. I'm thinking our defense is looking better and better. Each game that we've had, looking even better coming in from this past weekend, and then now looking to see how LSU is going to do against Alabama.
Camryn, I think that's a good point, because obviously the defense has struggled all season long. They've historically one of the worst defenses in LSU football history. They started to make a little improvement, I guess you could say, against Missouri in the second half, although I wasn't that impressed with them even then. As we know, Pete Jenkins has been brought in at 82 years old as a defensive line guru. And against Auburn, we talked about they improved and held Auburn at 18 points, but we talked about Auburn's offense not being very good. And obviously, Army is not a very good football team. They're now 2-5. And anytime you blow out an opponent 62-0, anytime you shut out an opponent, it doesn't matter who that is, that's bodes well for your defense that LSU was able to shut someone out. But I'm going to give LSU even more credit, because Army's offense presented some unique challenges to LSU, specifically to LSU. One of the big problems that LSU's defense has had all year long has been their inability to be disciplined on defense. And eye discipline has not been good. They've been chasing plays they shouldn't have chased. They've also been in the wrong position, so their assignments were incorrect quite a bit. That's what we started to see some improvement on in the Auburn game. Against Army is a very physical team. They're the Army, for crying out loud. So they're in great shape, and they play very physical football. And this was the most physical team I've seen LSU play this year. I'm talking about in the trenches, real physical play. And it was for 4 quarters. Army was down 55-0 and still fighting and fighting hard. Very physical. There was no quit in that team. But on offense, Army, even though they didn't have their starting quarterback, he was hurt and couldn't play, they still run a triple option-oriented offense. And any coach will tell you anywhere, and LSU knew this going into the game, they would have to have great eye discipline. They would have to have great assignment coverage. They would have to do what they were supposed to do, be where they were supposed to be, and in order to shut down the triple option and deal with the blocking scheme that the triple option presents to the defense. And LSU did that. Harold Perkins, Omar Spates, and Greg Penn, the third, the linebackers were perfect in tracking down the plays all night long. I say they were perfect. I'm sure if I was to watch the game film, I would notice some errors that they made, but they certainly looked perfect. There was a play where Harold Perkins actually forced the quarterback to make the pitch and then still was able to track down the running back and run him out of bounds. That's just amazing. But that points to the spectacular athleticism of Harold Perkins. Now, the fact that LSU was able to hold them to 151 yards rushing and basically shut out their passing game altogether does bode well for LSU, gives them confidence heading into a big game where it's for all the marbles against Alabama. It gives LSU confidence on defense, and it gives LSU some not just empty confidence, real confidence that they can actually stop an opponent 2 or 3 times a half at least, which I think is all LSU needs to win that game.
I agree. I do think the confidence is going to be really needed, especially coming in. Alabama is 5-0 in conference play. It won't be a home game. Last year, LSU and Alabama played. It was only a 1-point difference, and a win is still a win for Tigers. But I think that they needed this past game to see that defense could be consistent throughout the entire game against a team who was equally consistent fighting back. Even though they couldn't score, I didn't see throughout the entire game that Army ever gave up or slacked even slightly. It was a continuous push against the Tigers.
They didn't. They were relentless. The Army was relentless. Now, I will say that going into Tuscaloosa, historically LSU plays pretty well in Tuscaloosa. Even though they would much rather have this game in Tiger Stadium, they do have a good track record playing in Alabama, at Alabama. I think Nick Saban, to your point, and Paul Feinbaum said this earlier this week, that he may be doing the best coaching job he's ever done, because that Alabama team is an uncharacteristic Alabama team. They don't have great receivers. Their running backs haven't been that great. Their quarterback play has not been that great, and their defense has been challenged. But they shut out Tennessee 27-0 in the second half. And that's impressive.
It's impressive, but that was a slow starter game. And the past season that I've watched Alabama, you are right, it is uncharacteristically weird of Alabama to not just go out of the game and to win headstrong. So I am feeling hopeful with our defense that they'll be able to push through, and Alabama will be having a slow starter like they have been.
Well, yeah, Alabama relies totally on play-action passing to be successful offensively. And I think, again, LSU's defense has matured and evolved to the point now where they're going to be able to handle that. It's relatively easy, especially compared to a triple option for a defense to have to scheme against. But the fact that Alabama was able to overcome a halftime deficit and outscore SEC opponent, the caliber of Tennessee, 27-0 in the second half, bodes extremely well for the Crimson Tide. So we've got the showdown of the season on our hands. It's gonna be on prime time on CBS, and it's going to be fun to watch. But I can't help but think, to your point, that LSU is defensively is going to be able to stop Alabama more than Alabama is going to be able to stop LSU, and I think LSU is going to win the game.
I agree, and then I also brings into the question, SEC West could be on the horizons for LSU if LSU can lock down and really focus in and take care of business when they're in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, well, and the fact that if LSU is able to beat Alabama, like you said, they do have Florida and Texas A&M remaining, both of those home games. Sandwiched in between is Georgia State, a non-conference game. So that won't have any implication on the SEC race, but they'll have to stay awake for that Georgia State game because they'll need it if they're still hoping to make the college football playoffs. But I think LSU is in good position, and I think LSU and Alabama is going to be a typical LSU-Alabama game. And like I said, I think LSU is going to be able to score more than Alabama is, and I think that's what it's going to come down to.
I think that's what all LSU fans are hoping for. But anyway, so thank you for coming on, Todd. I just wanted to sit there, get your thoughts. I know you're busy. You're just popped in the office. I just wanted to get your thoughts on this bye week and what's coming up for LSU and Alabama November 4th. Thank you for coming on.
All right. Thanks, Cam.
We'll be right back after this commercial break.
People come from everywhere to Pawpaw's Campers and Cars.
All at Pawpaw's Campers and Shit is somewhere. Pawpaw's Campers and Cars are people. And we're going to let it go for I forgot. Take the whole family over to pick you. We got something for you. All right. What else we going to say? PawpawsNicePrice.com. That's probably all we need to say.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to our 25th episode. This is Camryn Conner, and I hope you guys enjoyed hearing my thoughts on LSU and what's coming up for them with this bye week and then upcoming Alabama game. We'll be back later this week with more updates, news, and analysis. First, I would like to thank our sponsors, Pawpaw's Campers and Cars, pawpawsrvs.com, 1-800-728-CAMP, 1-800-728-2267. All right, have a happy and safe Monday. Bye, guys.